I got pregnant with the boss's kid. I'll be taking over as the boss's wife. At that moment, something inside me snapped. Sarah, my husband's mistress, had been mocking me, flaunting her youth, and relentlessly trying to assert her superiority. She even took my job as the president's secretary, and now she's aiming for my husband. Well, I won't hold back anymore. I'll make sure they both plummet to the depths of hell. I decided to bless Philip and Sarah. I signed the divorce papers that Philip handed me. Of course, I received hefty compensation. They got married in Italy with a grand ceremony. Things changed a week later. I got a call from Sarah. Hey, Philip hasn't come home. As his ex-wife, you must know where he is, right? Sarah's voice was frantic. I laughed maliciously, just as I had expected. I kept quiet, but Philip is, I exposed my husband's terrible secrets. My name is Rose, a 58-year-old working housewife. I work as the president's secretary at my husband Philip's company. At 6 a.m., I wake up earlier than my husband to prepare breakfast. Then, I head to work alone, tidying up and cleaning the president's office. It's a daily routine. I want Philip to work comfortably. At 8 a.m., Philip arrives at the president's office. Thank you, Rose. You cleaned again today. I approached Philip and retied his tie. It's fine, dear. You want to work in a clean room, right? That's right. Philip and I were married through an acquaintance's introduction. We haven't been blessed with children, but we've lived together, supporting each other. This year marks our 30th wedding anniversary. The company, taken over by Philip from his father-in-law, is stable, and I've had no complaints about our life. By the way, the new business you planned? Joseph is going to fund it. The transfer was confirmed earlier. That's great. Joe seems to like you. Your negotiating helped a lot. The company is run by Philip as the president and his brother as the chairman. My brother-in-law's name is Joseph. Philip calls him Joe. Remember, Joseph funded another business you planned before. Aren't you proceeding with that? I casually asked. Philip looked annoyed. It's fine. I'll handle it, okay? Nothing special on today's schedule, right? Yes, because you mentioned it before. Philip smiled contentedly. Good, good. Then, Rose, there's someone I want to introduce to you. I'll bring them here, so wait for me. Understood. Someone to introduce? I felt a sense of discomfort at his words. Soon, I heard laughter from the hallway, Philip's voice and another, a young woman's voice. As I wondered about their friendly demeanor, the office door opened. Kept you waiting, huh, Rose? Philip said with a pleased look. I forgot to respond, fixated on the woman sitting next to him, a very young woman. Her hair was long and neatly arranged. She was dressed in a miniskirt that revealed her thighs and a camisole that exposed her chest, as if she were dressed for a night out. Yet, she wore it impressively, and I was astounded by her youth. This is Sarah. She'll be working here from today. Nice to meet you. I was dumbfounded. Is this a joke? My husband introducing a young woman to me? This alone was bad for my heart. Moreover, we don't hire fresh graduates. Excuse me, but how old is Sarah? She's 23. I met her at a bar with friends. We hit it off. She's young and fresh, gives me energy. Don't you think she'll boost the morale of our employees? Yes. He must be serious. Unable to say anything in front of my husband's radiant expression, I stayed silent. Then, Rose, please teach Sarah the ropes. Sarah is going to work as a general employee, right? Then wouldn't it be better if… Oh, I forgot to say. We're going to have 2 secretaries from now on. So, please teach Sarah the secretary work. 2 secretaries? Is that necessary? Well, you're getting on in years. It's okay to pass on work to the younger ones. Philip laughed lightly, and it pained my heart. Age! The way he said it. Then, take care. I'm going out for a bit on a personal errand. I'm counting on you to show her the ropes. With that, Philip left Sarah and me alone in the president's office. I took a deep breath to calm myself. Once Philip decides on something, he tends to rush into it and spectacularly fails, only to regret it later. This has happened often throughout our marriage. It's useless to say anything at times like this. For now, I'll just do as he says. It's bound not to work out anyway. Hey, Rose. Sarah tapped my shoulder. Yes. How old are you, Rose? Feeling it was wrong not to answer after asking her age, I told her the truth. I'll be 58 this year. But it seemed my sincere feelings didn't reach Sarah. What? You're as old as my grandmother. Poor thing. You could die any time and yet you still work? That's kind of sad. I gave a wry smile. I like my job. It's not sad. Sad? I see. The sad one is the boss, right? Whether he's at home or at work, he's always with an old woman. Really poor thing. With each word she said, my face grew more strained. What exactly are you trying to say? You don't get it? I guess when you get older, your brain starts to slow down. Laughter. Sarah let out a big sigh and clearly said, being young and beautiful, I have higher status than an old lady like you. You understand, right? Her smile was full of confidence, and I shivered. I couldn't stay silent any longer. You know, you should learn some common sense. Did I make you angry? Is it menopause? What? See, you get angry so quickly. It must be hard to keep working if you get upset over such things. Plus, with menopause, you sweat a lot and get short of breath, right? It's embarrassing to try so hard. Maybe it's time for you to retire. As I stood dumbfounded, Sarah laughed and whispered in my ear, why don't you retire as president's wife, too? Laughter. I shuddered. This person intends to take Philip away from me. I couldn't help but raise my voice. Enough is enough. With that kind of intention, I can't teach you anything. Leave the company right now. I expected a quarrel, but Sarah looked at me with tears streaming down her face. I'm sorry. I just wanted to get along with you, Rose, and made a joke, but it was too much. Too much. Sarah collapsed to the floor, sobbing. She looked like the heroine of a tragedy. I'll leave this company. Thank you for everything. Sarah ran out of the room. What is happening? Overwhelmed by the sudden turn of events, I stood there dumbfounded until Sarah returned with a red-faced Philip in tow. What are you doing? His sudden yell made me tremble. What's wrong, dear? I heard from Sarah. You yelled at her. It's because she said something terrible. Don't lie. I've been listening to your conversation. Sarah had recorded our argument on her mobile phone. The recording started from the moment I scolded her, giving the impression that I suddenly blamed her without reason and made her cry. That's why she apologized so sincerely, sobbing and all. I bit my lip in frustration. You don't believe me? Sarah came to me crying about what you did. There's a recording. It's clear whose words have more credibility. A secretary who bullies employees is fired as of today. I couldn't believe it. I had always supported Philip, both at home and at work. He would abandon me for Sarah, who just joined the company. Wait, then who will do the secretary's job? It's decided. Sarah will do it. That's impossible. And what about you? I swallowed the words that had almost slipped out. I tried again in a way that only Philip and I would understand. You know about your hobby. I'll handle that myself. I prefer pure and cute Sarah over you, who lies to me, the president. Besides, a young and beautiful girl like her suits me better than you do, don't you think? Philip narrowed his eyes happily and looked at Sarah beside him. Sarah looked up at Philip with adoration and flashed a brilliant smile. Then, she turned to me and stuck out her tongue just a little. I protested to Philip many times, but he wouldn't listen at all. The job of a secretary is not easy. Despite my insistence that Sarah couldn't handle it, all I got back were his overly optimistic words, saying it was an exaggeration or, you won't know until you try. You must think he's become a knight protecting his princess. I was speechless at his foolishness, hardly what you'd expect from someone running a company. Eventually, Philip threw out my personal items from my workspace. Instead, he arranged a brand new desk and cute stationery for young people, all for Sarah. It was all in vain. Realizing this, I decided not to waste any more effort and left the company. However, Philip didn't come home that night. He didn't return my calls either. I thought it was just his way of getting back at me, but as a week, then a month, then 3 months passed, I grew anxious. One day, I was called to the company by Philip and headed to the president's office. Maybe he's finally understood how hard the secretary's job was. Maybe he decided to let Sarah go and call me back. I knocked on the president's office door with a sliver of hope. "Come in." As I opened the door, I was met with an unbelievable scene. Philip, smiling happily, was holding hands with Sarah beside him. The two of them looked at me and laughed joyously. "It's been a while, Rose. We have some big news today." "What is it?" Sarah put her hand over Philip's mouth. "Let me say it, okay? I want to thank the wife, right?" Philip nodded deeply, and Sarah said to me with a beaming smile, "We're getting married." "Thank you for everything you've done for Philip." "What?" In front of my shaking self, Philip laughed sheepishly. "No, I thought there's no point in hiding it. I'm thinking of starting a second life. You're getting too old. It's better for you to live quietly by yourself." "What is that? How dare you?" I felt as if the blood had drained from my body. "Wait a minute, Rose. The talk isn't over yet. Here, a present. I made a copy for you." Sarah handed me a few sheets of paper. They were printed with black and white photos. Seeing them, I felt sick. "This ultrasound. Don't tell me." Sarah nodded slowly and gently stroked her belly as she came closer and whispered in my ear, "I got pregnant with Philip's child. I'll be taking over as the president's wife." Laughter. At that moment, something inside me snapped. She had mocked me, the president's wife, flaunted her youth, and tried to assert her superiority at every turn. She even took my job as the president's secretary, and now she's aiming for Philip. Well, I won't hold back anymore. I'll make sure they both plummet to the depths of hell. I decided to bless Philip and Sarah. I signed the divorce papers that Philip handed me. Of course, I received hefty compensation. They had a grand wedding in Italy. Things changed a week later. I got a call from Sarah. "Hey, Philip hasn't come home. As his ex-wife, you must know where he is, right?" Sarah's voice was frantic. I laughed maliciously, just as I had expected. I kept quiet, but Philip is, I exposed my husband's terrible secrets. He has a favorite hobby. He's probably in Vegas right now. Vegas? Ever heard of it? There's this big hotel in Las Vegas with a casino. Philip always rushes there whenever he has a chance. Sarah gasped. "Does that mean?" "Yes. Philip is probably indulging in gambling right now." I was the one who carefully scheduled his time to prevent him from getting too involved. It seems the new secretary was kept in the dark. He didn't want to show his bad side, spending the money he earned on gambling. Sarah was silent, seemingly in shock. I let out a small laugh. "I'm actually thankful to you." "What?" Philip started getting into gambling these past few years. It seems someone from a new business partner invited him. Before you came along, there was still a bit of affection left in Philip. I was worried about him falling deeper, but now I've completely cut him off. Taking such a low man off my hands and even giving me hefty compensation, there couldn't have been a better opportunity. Thanks to you, I can enjoy my second life. Laughter. I laughed heartily. I could hear Sarah breathing heavily over the phone. "Don't you dare joke about this. Getting all high and mighty? Then goodbye. You have a tough road ahead as the president's wife." I said sarcastically and hung up on Sarah, ignoring her shouting from the other end. A few days later, as I was relaxing in my new condo, the doorbell rang. Could it be a delivery? I hadn't ordered anything. Suspicious, I looked through the peephole. There stood my ex-husband, Philip, his face red with anger. "You're there, aren't you, Rose? How dare you tell Sarah about the gambling?" Understanding the situation, I decided to let Philip in. He must have hired a detective to find my address. Running away now would only lead to him chasing me again. Might as well settle things here. I had important information to share with him. I prepared a clear file of documents before opening the door. It's been a while, hasn't it? I greeted him with a graceful smile. What do you mean, it's been a while? After you ruined my family, how can you still smile? Philip was furious, shouting and trying to intimidate me, but such tactics don't work on a wife of many years. Oh my, why are you so red-faced? What happened? It's none of your business. I chuckled. He came here just to vent his anger, but I could see through what had happened between them. You must have had a fight with your wife. Shut up. Sarah must be unhappy with most of your income going to gambling. She told you she would manage the finances, and you're on an allowance now, right? Philip froze in shock. How? How do you know that? Did you plant a bug or something? He asked seriously, and I burst into laughter. You did the same thing with me when your gambling came to light. You said, "What's wrong with spending the money I earned on my hobby?" You must have repeated the same with Sarah, leading to a fight, and now you're taking it out on me. Philip clenched his fists and fell silent. Don't underestimate a wife of 30 years, I thought to myself, seeing his frustrated face. You should be thankful. I managed your schedule as your secretary. I minimized your gambling time to save you from ruin. Can a naive 23-year-old do that? Well, you have no choice but to let her try. You're having a child, after all. Child. At that word, Philip's face lit up. What a transparent man. Yes, Sarah and I are having a child. Unlike you, who's infertile, she can give me an heir. You lost as a woman. Philip looked down on me triumphantly. That's great for you. We're happy. Don't try to ruin my family again. I came here to warn you today. Philip pointed at me, and I tilted my head, puzzled. Me ruin it? I have no such intention. In fact, I'm thinking of helping you. Help me. Philip looked perplexed, clearly at a loss. Did you go with Sarah to the gynecologist? Huh? That place is for women. Sarah said she wanted to go alone, so I didn't accompany her. You saw the ultrasound photo, right? The glossy, thick paper photo. No, the one I saw was just thin, regular paper. I thought so. I presented Philip with several photos I had pulled from a clear file. They were grainy black and white photos, an ultrasound of a baby. Philip's eyes widened. What? You're pregnant. Of course not. This was a gift from Sarah. She's quite prepared, isn't she? Printing these out from the internet for me. Internet? Philip looked puzzled. I handed him a piece of paper. It was a printout of a blog post from 2 years ago. The post was a pregnancy announcement with ultrasound photos. Compare this with the earlier photo. Notice anything? After looking back and forth between the photo and the article, Philip's face turned pale. You don't mean? That's right. I matched the copied photo from the article. It was Sarah's ultrasound photo. Holding them up to the light, the baby's silhouette and the noise matched perfectly. Do you know about image search? It's a feature that searches the internet for images similar to the one you have. I found this blog using it. She must have copied the article directly, cutting out the photo neatly. So, the child. Philip went pale, looking like he might collapse. I decided it was time to deliver the final blow. It's a lie. There's no one in her belly. Philip collapsed to his knees. No, that can't be. She wouldn't lie about something like that. Impossible. After everything I bought for her, designer clothes, bags, even an expensive engagement ring. Philip vented his confused emotions by repeatedly hitting the floor with his fist. His actions were so ridiculous, I couldn't help but smile. It's a shame you couldn't become a father. When you think about it, considering your age, it's doubtful you could have fathered a child. Thinking a young partner would guarantee a child was naive. Ask Sarah for the truth. I'll call her over now. Philip was too drained to argue. He just slumped there, silent. I had Sarah come to the condominium. Soon after, the doorbell rang and I opened the door. Upon seeing me with Philip, she screamed, "What are you doing here?" Trying to take Philip back from me. No, didn't I say I was thankful to you? I have a baby in my belly. You can't tear us apart. Sarah screamed triumphantly, not listening to me. She entered and gently embraced Philip's shoulder. Are you okay? Let's go back and talk about the money. I'll manage the finances. That's okay, right? We'll overcome this trial together. After all, in my belly. Shut up. Philip slowly stood up. He looked at Sarah intently and quietly said, The pregnancy is a lie, isn't it? Sarah's face contorted noticeably. What? What are you talking about, honey? Tell me the truth, Sarah. The pregnancy is real. I showed you the ultrasound photo. Our child is the fruit of our love. How can you deny that? Sarah sat on the floor, breaking down in tears. But then, she raised her head and glared sharply at me. You must have filled him with weird ideas. You're just jealous because you're old and I'm young and beautiful. Sarah huffed arrogantly. I laughed back at her. Is that all you have to say? Hey, Philip, let's just go home, okay? Sarah tried to pull Philip's arm, but he brushed her off. Enough, Sarah. Philip thrust the blog post copy and the ultrasound photo at Sarah. There's no escaping the truth now. I trusted you. How could you lie about something like this? I was so happy, I cried. Sarah's expression vanished. Hey, Philip. Philip looked at me with wet eyes, an upward gaze seeking sympathy. I just wanted to test your love for me. I was afraid I was just being played with. That's why I said I was pregnant. Then, Philip, you said you wanted me to have it, right? I was so happy. Sarah's radiant smile left Philip speechless. So, the lie was because you love me? That's right. We can start working on having a child now. My beauty and your brains, it'll be a wonderful child, eventually becoming a president and earning lots of money. That's not going to happen. I brought Philip and Sarah back to reality from their little world. Hey, we're having a moment here. Do you really think this man has money? I asked calmly. Of course. He's a president, after all. I see. Indeed, our company has been passed down through generations and isn't doing badly. But that's about the company as a whole. This man is a gambler. Do you understand what that means? Sarah's face turned pale as she clung to Philip. Hey, Philip, you're rich, right? You told me once we're married, we'd live a wealthy life because you have more money than you know what to do with. Philip responded in a faltering voice. It's okay. I've lost some money gambling, but we're starting a new business soon. That'll be our big break. What are you talking about? I pointed out Philip's ugly lies. I know for a fact there's no new business venture planned. What do you mean? You got funding from Joseph recently, right? Where is that money now? Surely it wasn't spent on luxury brands and an engagement ring for a new wife. I glared at Philip. What? That's not something I would do. Philip laughed derisively, though his voice trembled. I sighed briefly. You embezzled the company's money. Philip swallowed hard under my steady gaze. I had suspicions. You've been saying you're starting new ventures and getting funding from Joseph, but no business ever materializes, just one new venture after another. It was odd not to doubt. So, I spoke with Joseph to gather solid evidence. You teamed up against me then? The money Joe transferred that day was a decoy. You transferred the business funds directly into your own bank account this time. Usually, you're more careful, using various accounts to avoid detection. What? Were you that desperate for money, trying to prove to Sarah you're wealthy? Philip fumbled for words, confirming my suspicions. I said the last word. You're done. Get arrested and live as a criminal for the rest of your life. Shut up. It's a family matter. It'll probably just end with probation. Besides, Joe will bail me out. Even if I'm charged, I'll be out in no time. Philip reassured himself. Why do you know all this? You were supposed to be fired. You have nothing to do with this. Joseph told me. Joe did. Yeah, it's me. Joseph hired me. Philip opened his mouth in surprise. I explained calmly. Yes, when he heard you dumped me, he contacted me immediately. He apologized for your terrible actions and asked if he could hire me back. I said yes right away. You didn't know? Joe is keeping it from me, that bastard. I'm grateful to Joseph. He put me in charge of schedule management, and I'm earning more than before." I showed a broad smile, and Philip gritted his teeth. "That Joe. I'll confront him right now." As Philip was about to leave, that's when it happened. Sarah grabbed Philip's arm. She pulled him toward her with strength, their faces almost touching. Her expression was devilish. "Hey, you lied to me, flaunting your wealth, and in reality, you're just an old criminal? Don't mess with me." "I'm sorry, Sarah." Philip, though terrified, took Sarah's hand. Looking into her eyes, he slowly said, "But it's okay. I'll probably get probation and I can return home. I might be ousted from the company, but we can still be happy without money if we're together. Don't joke with me." Sarah shook off Philip's hand and glared at him as if he were filth. "There's no way a beautiful young woman like me would live with an old, penniless man like you. After I lied about being pregnant to get us to marriage? What a waste of time." "The worst." Sarah shoved Philip aside and left the room. "Sarah, wait for me." "Shut up." Sarah slammed the door shut. Philip, abandoned by his new wife, stood at the entrance like a ghost. I spoke to Philip. "Please leave. This is my house." "Rose, what? Can't we start over? Me as the president and you as a secretary, like before." Philip tried to charm me with a fawning smile, but I flatly rejected him. "It's impossible. I hate you. I never want to see your face again." Philip's eyes widened, and he started to tremble. "Enough of that." I opened the door and pushed Philip out. As I locked the door and began watching TV, Philip quietly left the condominium, realizing it was all over. Later, Philip was arrested. He had thought Joseph would bail him out, but that expectation was wrong, and he was taken to a cold jail cell alone. Philip was arrested for embezzling funds entrusted to him by Joseph. Besides, he had told suppliers and related companies he was starting new ventures, asking for loans, and then diverting those funds to his personal account for private use. Philip received a sentence without probation and won't be out for several years. As for Sarah, she was suspected of conspiring with Philip and was investigated. Though no evidence of conspiracy was found, the police discovered she had been scamming money from various businessmen, approaching wealthy-looking men in bars, becoming their girlfriend, and then claiming she needed money for a pregnancy or a parent's surgery. Essentially, Philip was also a victim of Sarah's scams. Sarah was arrested for fraud. Thus, both of them ended up in the care of the police. Half a year has passed since Philip's arrest. I am still working with Joseph, recovering the company's image. After a scandal, it's not easy, and Joseph is always worried. I want to support him, feeling grateful to him. One evening, I returned to the company with Joseph. He sank deeply into his chair, exhaling. "It's been a tiring day. We had a series of business dinners." Joseph looked into my eyes and smiled. "But thanks to you, Rose, picking a good restaurant, we had an enjoyable meal. Many of the clients are around my age, so they appreciated the healthy yet luxurious dining experience. Plus, none of them knew about today's place. It was like a surprise. Thanks to that, the conversation flowed well." "Thank you." Joseph wore a gentle smile. Unlike Philip, Joseph is always calm and composed when he speaks with someone. He always uses polite language, and his sincere character is evident. I find Joseph's personal charm appealing. "It's too kind of you to say." As I thanked him, Joseph sighed contentedly. "To think someone as capable as you was Philip's spouse? Truly surprising." I chuckled lightly. "Former spouse. I have no relation with him anymore. Huh, right? By the way, Rose, how long do you plan to work? Don't you think about retiring and living quietly at home?" I answered with a smile. "I love my work. As long as I'm physically able, I want to keep working." Joseph nodded happily several times. "I want you to help me rebuild this company. It's going to be a long partnership, but I'm counting on you from now on." I nodded firmly. "Yes, Joseph." As I responded energetically, Joseph laughed as if amused. Seeing his laughter made me feel warm inside. My second life is surely going to be enjoyable. Looking at Joseph's smile, I thought just that. Please feel free to comment below if you like this. Remember to like and subscribers for more.